Greetings, Starfighters. Welcome to the Season 2 wrap-up for Shameless Cashgrab. Today, I will be ranking and giving a brief additional thought to each movie in the set for Season 2, Life's a Beach. At the end of this episode, I will be announcing the set for Season 3. Now, before we do that, I will say that my plan for this set is for it to be the last Mill Creek set, at least for a while, because they're not the only company that makes these kind of sets. So I think when I get to Season 4, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a Season 4, I want to give one of those other companies a shot. But until that time, because the next set has 20 movies in it, so it's going to be a while, let's go ahead and start with the rankings for Life's a Beach.
Number 10, The Beach Girls. Number 9, Love Lines.
Where do I even start with this one? Wow. If you remember the episode, you know how angry this movie made me. But not the least of which is the fact that of all the movies featuring topless women in this set, which would actually be, carry the one, all of them, this is the only one that did not make it clear that all of the women were over 18. Now, I imagine all the actresses were, but still. And then you've also got Michael Winslow just not being anywhere near as funny as he was in the Police Academy movies, and honestly, I think a lot of the Police Academy movies haven't aged that well. And then you got Miguel Ferrer just somehow managing to not save a movie he's in. How does that even happen? And then you got some crummy music, and it's just all around bad. And yet still somehow not quite as bad as the Beach Girls. As I mentioned in Season 1, these rankings are admittedly a little bit arbitrary.
Number 8, Private Resort.
You know, even if known abusive drunk Johnny Depp was not in this movie, I'd still probably hate it. Because our so-called heroes, we're supposed to root for them to get to the girl at the end, except the girl is not the only one they're chasing practically every girl. Not to mention, there is a sequence that is so mocking of religion, Eastern religions in particular, that even hardcore atheist myself was deeply offended. You just have a recipe for a terrible movie.
Number 7, Hardbodies.
This movie is considered a cult classic. Unlike other cult classic films that I've seen before, though, this one begs one particular question. Why? To be fair, the last 10 minutes actually do manage to be fairly funny, but that is just not enough to salvage this boring slog full of completely unlikable characters.
Number 6, Return to Savage Beach.
The third and last Andy Sedaris movie on this set is also the worst. And it's kind of amazing that it is this bad. Because by this point, his formula was well established. He knew what worked. But everything in this movie just gets it completely wrong. The action is not over the top enough. While the actors in the first two movies weren't necessarily great, they at least had charisma to make up for it. Here, they don't even have that going for them. It's just, he had all the elements that made the previous movies, in the order they are on the set, enjoyable and half enjoyable, and just completely blew it. Or, what's a good way to put it? You know what? Just play the History of Violence clip.
How do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
Number 5, Malibu High.
It's a 70s grindhouse picture. Not really much more to say than that. If you're watching a 70s grindhouse picture, you pretty much know what you're getting if you've seen other 70s grindhouse pictures. Although I would say this one's actually fairly tame by those standards. But as a grindhouse picture, it's fine. I mean, if you don't like that particular subgenre, you'll probably hate this movie. But because, I don't love 70s grindhouse movies, but I got a bit of a soft spot for them. And also homages. I mentioned Planet Terror in the actual episode. So, that's why this one makes it into the top half. Granted, with this set, that's not that high of a bar, but still.
Number 4, Malibu Beach.
Why does this movie rate so high when it has a lot of the same elements of the movies that were lower than it on the set? 2 words. Stoned cop. I know it's been 40 years since this movie has been made, but, I would love to see a sequel just focusing on Stoned Cop. And in my TED Talk, I will go into my plans for a Stoned Cop cinematic universe. For starters...
Number 3, Savage Beach.
The second of the Andy Sedaris films on this set is also the second best one on this set, appropriately enough. It only features 2 of the characters from the previous film in it, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, but they were 2 of the more charismatic cast members. Like I mentioned, talking about Return to Savage Beach, what they lacked in acting skill they made up with charisma, and Donna Spear and Hope Marie Carlton definitely had it. Unfortunately, it didn't quite boost this movie up to the level that it could have been, but, you still get some of the cheesy enjoyment you get out of Hard Ticket to Hawaii. You just have to wait longer for it.
Number 2, Spring Break.
I should not have enjoyed this movie as much as I did. It is surprisingly charming. I've been using the word charming a lot in this season, but, what can you do? I use the word charming almost as much as I use the word anyway. But Spring Break, going in, had multiple strikes against it. You had a poster that looks like... Well, you just saw it. It was directed by a guy known for slasher movies, and it's an early 80s sex comedy. So much could have gone wrong, and yet none of it really did. I actually legitimately enjoyed watching this movie. And there was really only one other movie in the set that I enjoyed as much, if not maybe a little more, than Spring Break. So really, in the case of this set, there's not so much a top 5 and a bottom 5 as there's a top 2 and a bottom 8. But anyway, time for number 1, which, you already know what that is, process of elimination, but pretend to be surprised when we get to...
And number 1, Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
This movie is gloriously cheesy. The plot is a mess, but it is a hilarious mess. The giant snake, the ineffectual villain we're all supposed to be afraid of. The fact that the good guys forgetting about one of the villains was a deliberate plot point. The scenes that just go nowhere, but are funny because they go nowhere. Something that so few other movies can really lay claim to. Generally, when they have scenes that go nowhere, that hurts them. But with Hard Ticket to Hawaii, it actually makes it funnier. It is just... This is an astonishingly, awesomely bad movie that I honestly think of all the movies on this set is the one that I would most recommend to everyone. Yes, even above Spring Break, even though Spring Break is, as I've said, a legitimate surprise. Hard Ticket to Hawaii, folks. If you can find a copy, find a copy. Totally worth it. And so, with that, Life's a Beach is done. On the whole, not a great set. One really enjoyable movie, one surprising movie, and two movies that were about half good. So, not a great track record, but you know what? At least it's done. So, Season 3. Well, folks at home, with the exception of the last two movies in the Life's a Beach set, well, plus the one, the third of the Andy Sedaris movies, which was in the 90s, and then you had the last two movies on the set that were in the 70s, this set has been mostly 80s movies. I think it's time to have a set with a little more variety. A set that highlights more decades and eras of filmmaking. Or dare I say, a set with a little more bite? Yeah, I know, low-hanging fruit, I'm sorry.
Like you have to look at your notes.
I know. Oh, I just started a new job this week. I'm tired. Okay. Okay, sorry, gotta catch my breath after that one. Okay.
So, Arkle, did you like Hard Ticket to Hawaii?
I did very much like Hard Ticket to Hawaii.